name I'm butchering is Samina. Samina, I'd love to talk to you, new residents in Union. Welcome, welcome. First thing you have to do is get a library card, and I can help you do that. We have another reader coming in, Tiana, the artist, whose name I also butchered, sure, I'm positive. We will be starting very soon. Can you people hear the ding dong? Anybody ever go to a writer's program at the library? Okay, I'm going to ask Lisa, while I'm giving my very, very brief introduction, could you please admit people? And
yes, I'll do that, no problem.
And Abriana, could you signal me when you're ready to start?
I'm ready whenever you are, Debbie. Thank you.
All right. So first, the unofficial welcome, which is to say welcome, welcome from Union Public Library. I'm really glad you all came tonight. It's really our honor to host this, to have such talented people involved. And I'm going to, we're going to tape this. So I'll go like this when we tape it. You can hide your picture. If you need instructions on how to do that, you can put it in chat and I'll help you do it. I can actually do it for you. So I'm about to start recording and I'm going to sound really, here we go. We already started recording. Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight in our second poetry reading and open mic. We are very grateful to our first two poets from Kean and Union County, who in fact organized the whole thing, and they'll be reading. My name is Debbie Walter, and I am with Union Public Library, and the key message takeaway is don't forget to like us on Facebook. So let's get started, first with some scheduled poets, and then we'll turn the mic over to you for one and appropriate for public ears poem. If you want to read later, please put your name in chat. Just a shout out to higher education. Our first two poets are both graduates of MFA poetry programs. Abriana Jate from Brooklyn is an internationally published poet, essayist, editor, and educator. Her work has appeared in the American Literary Review, the Island Force Literary Review, Word Riot, The Boiler, Everyday Poets, and many other journals. She released her inaugural Stay Thirsty Poets Volume 1 anthology under her own Stay Thirsty Publishing imprint. She's currently teaching at UCC, where one student said, I loved her. She makes you work for your grade, but in the end, it's worth it because you gain a lot from the course. Abriana?
Thank you so much. I just one minor correction is that we're here representing Kean University, not UCC, but shout out to UCC and all of their students as well. And thank you guys so much for coming. There's so many of you here, and thank you, Debbie, for organizing. Thank you, Tyler, Tyreek, Lisa, and Tamara for sharing your poetry with us, and everybody who signed up for the open mic. I only have 5 poems to read tonight, and they're pretty quick. So the first poem, though, that I'm going to read, I certainly wasn't thinking about Dante Wright when I was writing it, because I wrote it over a decade ago, but the unfortunate truth is that I keep returning to the poem. And so I'm gonna pause just a little bit before I read, as a collective moment of silence, perhaps, that we can all partake in honor of his spirit and all of the other lives that were taken in terms of police brutality. So the name of the poem is Cycle. I'm going to say the title one more time, take my pause in our moment, and then I'll read it. Cycle. And this is for Amadou Diallo, original. 9 less than Sean Bell, 7 years later, yet all things still the same. Same stump, same stoop, same pebbles being kicked, same flag, same everything. I said it because she said 50 bullets sounded like one giant cloud of rain. I say it sure sounds like justice being hung from a tree in Money, Mississippi. Like a reminder, don't you try and live, boy, don't you live. How does one live? Your mother lived with an extra million for every 41 not guilty rounds. Lived without a son to spoil. So I guess the first 2 poems are sort of about like cultural issues, and then the last 3 get a little personal. And this one's called How Jewish. Friday morning, I got to hear the word Holocaust mean a day too hot to bear from 2 teenage girls in pink lip gloss as they walked off the bus. As in, my God, it's a Holocaust out here. That's what they said. Every time I tell somebody I am Jewish, they say, sorry, as if there's something to be sorry about. But you don't look Jewish, they say, as if it's a compliment. Mom saves sugar packets, keeps rings and pearls in her purse, waits weeks to toss out scrap paper or tissues half used. She learned this from Abraham and Anna, who left Auschwitz and Dachau behind to start a new life in New York City. Is that not Jewish enough for you? Tell me, what do you need me to do? Repeat the Misha Berach enough? Repeat the Misha Berach over Shabbat candles? Bless my meat before I consume its nutrients for my own good? What, should my nose stick out just an inch extra? How Jewish do I have to be for you to no longer feel sorry? So I have 3 more poems, and they're pretty short. And I'll just give like a 1 sentence or 2 sentence explanation of them. I'm working on multiple projects. One project is a chapbook or larger collection. It's yet to be determined about addiction and other inheritances. Another is a retelling of Persephone and Hades and their tale. And then another one is sort of about love and marriage and the lack thereof. So I figured I would just pull 1 poem from each one of these projects and give you a little slice and a taste of each of them. And the first one I'm going to read is from that manuscript about addiction. And, you know, I'm really fascinated with language in all sorts of ways, specifically in terms that I believe that writing is a form of healing. And if you're familiar with the 12 steps in Alcoholics Anonymous, you might be familiar with the 9th step, which is, hello kitty, making amends. And you confront people who you have harmed because of your addiction. But I'm really fascinated with the step before, which is the 8th step, in which you must list and actually write down the names of these people and how difficult that first step of naming and writing might be. So this poem is titled The 8th Step, and it's based off of that. Name them. You might not make it much further. Remembering what a little bitch you were is enough to make you want to drink. Try it like this. Name them the way you'd list the men you love to swallow. Georgie, Johnny, Jack. But it's not as easy as that, is it? Afterwards, at least the bottle still exists. Sweet elixir of fabrication. If it weren't for the liquor, you don't know where you'd be. It's killed you as much as it helped you survive. Maybe that's hard to see. Maybe that's just you addicted. Here's the thing. You don't love it. You don't need it. You like to think you even have control. But desire outlasts time, and these days you pour a glass of wine just to have it sit by your side. Name them. You can't. And it's not because your heart is empty or cold or full of sin. More, you suffer like the wind in silence, felt only in gushes that flush the cheeks. To write it means you did it, do it. Quickly, name them like a shot of vodka before work. When the names hit your throat, let them burn. So this next poem is from the sort of collection on Persephone, and it reimagines Persephone in a sort of contemporary light. Certainly not what we might think of when we imagine Louise Glick's Persephone, though incredibly inspired by the audacity of retelling such a tradition, right? This poem's really short, and I just like to tell people when the poems are short. I think it the suspense of when it's going to end sometimes anticipates the poem itself. So it's a form called thank you all for that. Called the Triolet, and the Triolet is an 8-line poem, and traditionally the first 2 lines of the poem are also the last 2 lines of the poem, and there's a lot of word play, and so you're not really writing a lot of words, you're just repeating a lot of words, and that's where the form gets its rhythm. And I've taken some liberties with that, but I've tried to repeat the lines as much as possible. And this poem imagines, this is a lot of backstory for a tiny little poem. That's usually the way. Triolet, you're right, Dee. I'm so sorry, Triolet. This is like a lot of backstory for it, but this is a poem that imagines Persephone speaking to Eurydice, and Eurydice and Orpheus were lovers, and they were to be married, and Eurydice is bitten and goes to Hades on her wedding day. And I imagine that Persephone was waiting there for her, ready to give her some advice. So this is advice to Eurydice. Eurydice was bitten on the sole of her foot. And so I use the word sole here, and I do mean like the literal sole of the foot in the first line. And I think that's important to know. And you can't see the poem, so I'm just telling it to you. Advice to Eurydice: keep the soles covered. Thorns prick and splinter, snakes slither for a kiss under the brush and moss, so keep your soles covered. You may have wished for something different, but I promise it isn't this, where we keep your souls, where neither cover nor thorns nor splinters exist, just snakes and pricks. And I have one last poem, speaking of pricks. No, I'm joking. And it's titled MacArthur Park, and it's about love and marriage and the lack thereof. And it's really inspired by Donna Summer's song, of course, if you know it, MacArthur Park. And I say, like, go listen to it after the reading and just dance around to it, which is like kept me sane for around a year. MacArthur Park. Leaving cake out in the rain is just about the most careless thing someone can do, which is why Donna Summer saying, I don't think I can take it. In my mind, I picture a 3-tiered wedding cake disaster, picked at by pigeons and rolled over, sweetened streetlights and icing melting in the dark. Sometimes I feel like that cake, and I don't think I can take it. Some people get how long it took to make it, meaning we shouldn't put that much effort into something again, except maybe dancing. Celebration after celebration, my parents hustled, tried to teach me how to hustle. The 4/4 syncopation, back forward loop spin, arms wide, then back in, never stuck. Too dizzying, or probably one of us was too drunk. My husband couldn't dance to save his life, or he never tried. Hips like 2 left feet, sort of like our marriage, off step, tripping over the other. Husband, is that what I should call him? That man who gave me this pain? What's the right name for the person who leaves your cake out in the rain? So thank you for listening. I'm really appreciative to you all, and I'm so excited to hear my beloved colleague, who is a New Jersey native, Lisa Sisler, read her poem. So Professor Sisler is the editor of Knocking at the Door, Approaching the Other, a poetry anthology published by Write Bloody Books. And she's also the author of Creative Writing Workshop, a textbook for beginning writers. Her poetry's appeared in print and online at Connotations Press, Contemporary American Voices, The Writing Disorder, Adana, among others. She teaches writing with me at Kean University. Take it away, Lisa.
Okay, have to unmute. All right, so the first poem that I'm going to read to you has sort of this idea of personification of defense and exposure. And so it's called Defense and Exposure in Battle. Defense rules first, lays out her plan for survival. Indifference, molar gnashing noise, a lioness in mock charge. Stand your ground and she'll submit. Run, and when she catches up, she always does, she'll wrap her jaws around the windpipe, revel as you suffocate, all fang and fury. She'll dodge questions and lie as she stands on your carcass to howl at her moon. Feeling ignored, exposure tiptoes around your bloody mess. He'll admit only safe vulnerabilities, lest his neck be next. Destructive streaks, wars that rage inside the surface of an empty bed. Feeling braver, exposure moves further, a slaughter of a different kind. He'll complicate you, unsure of his riddles. If he is clever, he will bear enough to intrigue, conceal enough for future rebuffs. Hating exposure's folly, defense attacks. She can cut blunt her voracious mouth. Trembling, exposure makes one last plea for tenderness, his mistake. The meat most aching always makes the mouth water, always lays its own throat on the blade. All right, the next one is called Heat Lightning. It must have been electricity, that expectant city night, with surges of moist air ready to douse us as we ducked into a subway alcove to say goodbye. The smell of you, male and heady, filled my mouth as I rested it on your collar, my own ambrosia too far for the tasting. Each finger you ran crowned to nape, a bolt looking for its ground. The next one is called Give Me Back Those 10 Minutes. Alone in your front seat, the smell of tobacco and aftershave hanging, our bodies too close. Give me back my naivete at the suggestion that I, on your lap, steer the car to its final resting place. Before I understood immobility and intransience. Give me back my bare feet on asphalt, acorns embedding themselves into my soles as I raced ahead. Before I concealed obstacle and injury. Give me back my lack of restraint, throwing arms around your neck, nestling into the sanctuary of your shape. Before I contained anxiety and hesitation. Every coy, teasing smile that made me feel that for a few hours at least, I mattered to someone. Give me back anticipation, waiting for you to barrel onto the porch, presents and stories aplenty. That blaze in my chest, the bees in my head, the ease in my 5-year-old grin. Give them all back. Give it back that afternoon. Rebirth. What if life had a way to rewind all the way back to the instant your head is crowning? And in this replay, this slow moment, you could say something, anything to your struggling, slippery self caught in the fluids of new life. Would you whisper, more a prayer passing over the lips and tongue, just audible enough to absolve you from your own official hand in the outcome? Would you yell horror movie instructions, as many as you can think of, in hopes that lessons already learned in the past will be available to this baby self? Or would you hold your breath, unable to speak or exhale, frozen by the beauty of terror of a life forcing its way into the world that offers no plan beyond trial and error? Believing, despite already knowing every scene of your life, one day you'll start again, differently. This one is called Pilgrim's Palm to Palm. I believe in storytelling, talking animals, fairy godmothers, preserved beauties like paper whites, dried from a rafter after hands held sweaty their stems. I believe in true love for the time being, kissing on the subway, sharing mussels in Thai restaurants, holding hands under the table, letting the steam from the dishes mingle the heat of our pawing, a barrier to the window's frost. I believe in holding close the things that move too fast. The wink this one gave me just before the shutter snapped the photo, the slam of the car door the last time I saw that one, the moist pressure of a palm on my child knee that changed me forever. I believe in movement, not forgiveness, not forgetting, but the ebb and flow of my body as I lie under you, legs wrapping your waist, you bending over me, me reaching up to you. I believe that if there is a God, I can grab his hand when you enter me. And then this is the last one I'll read, Suburban Landmark. Every Jersey diner, littered with coffee cups and breakups. Every cul-de-sac, somebody's dad ran breath held behind a bicycle before its release. Every parking lot, a friend taught another not to grind the gears, let up on the clutch slowly. Every high school stairwell, a girl stole a kiss from a boy she thought she'd love forever. Every hospital, a loved one was born, grandparents and aunts peeking into the room. And that same hospital, a loved one took his last breath, same huddled in the doorway, a different prayer on their breaths. Every playground, someone smoked her first cigarette, his first joint, drank her first beer, got his ass kicked for the first time, kissed her for the last time. Every baseball field, where he won the game or lost the game or sat the bench or wasn't even picked for the team. Every mile of road, someone crashed into the guardrail, swerved just in time to miss it, witnessed the wreck of another's life. Every, the first, the best, the last, the ultimate, until the next one. Every somebody, every memory, all landmarks. Give me 1 second. I'm going to introduce our next reader. Thank you for letting me read. Tamara Zabritzer is a Ukrainian-American poet. She received her MFA at Drew University. Her work has been published in various journals and anthologies and has been nominated for a Pushcart Prize and the Best of the Net. Her full-length collection, Tell Me Something Good, was released from Get Fresh Books in April 2019. She lives in New Jersey with her son and an overfed cat. Please help me welcome Tamara.
Tamara, you can unmute. Okay, good.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those beautiful readings, Lisa and Brianna, and thank you for inviting me here. I'm so excited. Happy National Poetry Month. Woohoo, happy April. It's my favorite month, not just because it's National Poetry Month, but it's because it's my son's 5th birthday is going to be tomorrow. So that's really exciting for me. And I thought in preparing for this reading, I would read some poems for him. And then I realized that all of my motherhood poems are super depressing because motherhood can be that way sometimes. And I wrote a lot of them in like the throes of postpartum depression, but I do have some poems for him. So I'm going to read those. So this one, my son's name is Kahlo and he's named after Frida Kahlo. And this poem is actually kind of appropriate because the original prompt or the situation happened in a Kean classroom in my World Lit class. It's got language in it, so guard those virgin ears, everyone. All right. When I show my class a picture of Frida, a student yells, "Oh shit." Instantly, I'm on the defensive. Can yours roar? When furrowed are your brows birds? Each unplucked hair boats across oceans, home azul like nothing in nature, yet rooted in revolution's bullets over clothing lines, burrowing holes in white linens and the busted busts that burrowed holes in bone. Rods that held her together, back brace that broke her heart, her brows, the only body part not saturated in tragedy like gangrene, hungry, ravenous even, how it swallowed her feet whole. Smacked its lips, choking down each toe. Kid, what do you know of lust and love that lives through miscarriages, that outlasts body parts? What do you know of tending to that unhealable wound? I was lucky. I birthed a son who bears her name, and if I raise him right, her spirit too, in each hair of his tiny brows, like her brows, which I praise when my husband, the same man who held me through the blood and horror show of birth, jumps his hand away from my unshaved leg, like its prickles are fire, like the hair will swallow him whole. I praise her brows for giving me the strength to say, I'll shave mine when you shave yours. When I show my class a picture of Frida, a student yells, "Oh shit," then takes a photo with his phone. She's gonna be my background. Praise the conjoined black bears, unplucked iconoclasts, untweezed revealers of women's multitudes, claws and crutches, flowers that bloom from a dying head. This is another one about motherhood, and I can't believe I wrote it almost 5 years ago. There are entryways that don't get a second glance, like this lock on the door to the laundry, which I turn too often, washing my son's sweet potato stained shirts, knowing this load is far from last and wishing for more than a tiny space between the house and garage, though it is a blessing. Even this narrow corridor where a spider spins his webs in every corner, even the keyhole, offering his tapestry of insides to feed future empires of tiny spinners. I reload the dryer, close the door, and turn the lock over. Its mechanism an empire of entries and exits that allow this home to carry on. Folding my son's tiny clothes, I think of my tiny empire. This house, this tiny boy who knows nothing of this lock's workings, its inventor's late nights, the perfect cylinder, raw fingers, the perfect bolt, cold dinners, the carrying on, turning over of self. And then I'm gonna shift gears a bit. So my mother-in-law, ex-mother-in-law, no, I guess she's still my mother-in-law, was a math teacher, and she texted me the other day and she said, did you know it was National Poetry Month, but it's also National Mathematics Month? And I was like, well, I didn't know, that's great. And she's a huge Albert Einstein fan, and so am I, which is weird to say out loud, but we are. So this is a poem for my wonderful mother-in-law and Albert Einstein, called Albie, my one true would-be love. Small spaces like this bathtub are vast to the ant climbing its brim. Even smaller is this moment considering the ant, though maybe it's meant to lead into a larger moment if you believe what Einstein said about time existing so that it all doesn't happen at once. Maybe I'm here pruned in the tub, but also dolled up at one of Albie's seminars, fangirling him hard. Everyone is always measuring his brain, but I'd comb his hair or tailor his pants. Someone should have taken better care of that. In that larger time, this is the moment I'm double knotting the string on his hem, and he's all googly-eyed, saying something about the infinite universe seeming oh so finite compared to my smile. He croons that it feels like a homecoming when we're together like this, swirling his massive tongue from that one photo around my neck, and it's good and wet, but my mind is stuck on regret. I never got glammed up to drink spiked punch and tongue some Einstein at homecoming in an over-glittered gym posturing a starry night. Albie, say our love is larger than memory, larger than your brain, larger than regret, too larger to fit inside one single tub. When I wake shaking in our bed, wipe the sweat off my forehead, say it was only a nightmare. Me with a cut-off t-shirt, smoking cigarettes in the parking lot, thinking I'm in love with that brooding Einstein when it was all just some Kevin or John. Small regrets like that stay small until you invite them into your good hot bath. They displace all the water and drown the ant. It's a timeless mess. And I'm gonna finish with this last poem that was published in this really excellent anthology. It's called Divine Feminist, an anthology of poetry and art by women and non-binary folks. And it was curated by Marina Carrera, who's actually a professor at Kean as well, and she works there. And it was published by Get Fresh Books, which is a really wonderful press right here in New Jersey, and they do really great work. And so all the proceeds from this anthology are going to Pink Door Writing Retreats, which is a program that gives free writing retreats to women, trans, non-binary folks of color. So buy the anthology, support this really great cause. Okay. And another one of my bathtub poems, because I have a bunch of those, apparently. Okay. A sonnet in which I am in the bathtub on a Friday night, examining my legs and thinking I should have taken them out on the town. Instead of soaking post-eating 3 Cadbury eggs, even if they were on sale post-Easter, and have melted into a sticky puddle inside the cabinet after I hid them from my kid but forgot, and lo, they were resurrected when I opened the drawer to steal some of his bubbles. I swear, this is not a parable of the shitty mother. I'm saving him from cavities and bought the bubbles, so they're mine by rules of commerce. Still, what would Jesus say? What would my Jewish mother? I'm tempted to make a joke how she'd forgive the betrayal as long as they were on sale, or if you'd work as hard on finding a husband as separating the wrapper from the chocolate. Ma, from your mouth to God's ears. But if you could only taste the sanctity of the solitude, the sweetness, I swear, Ma, parabolic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm going to introduce the next reader. All right. Tyreek Gay is a junior at Kean University, majoring in elementary education with a focus on English literature. He is looking forward to making an impact on the education system, woohoo, by promoting individualized education as opposed to mainstream teaching. Yes. He also aspires to be a part of the movement that dismantles the school to prison pipeline. He believes that words exercise emotion and have the power to change any given circumstance. His chapbook, Where Do We Go, is looking for a home. Please help me welcome Tyreek.
Good evening, everybody. So my name is Tyreek. I am a junior at Kean University. I am very nervous because it's been a while since I've actually presented my poetry for an event. So just please bear with me. So the poems I'm going to be reading to you are from my book that I'm actually looking toward publishing soon. The title of my book is called Where Do We Go? So just to be vulnerable for a moment, the reason why I wrote this book was kind of a release of what I've been going through for the past couple of years, and which I closed everybody off of. The basis of my book is from heartbreak. I fell deeply in love with someone, and people think that oh, it was high school, it's nothing like that, it was just a mere infatuation. But for me, no, it was something more than that, and it took me a while to heal from that. And whereas people could never understand why I was going through it or why I could not get through it fast enough, I had to tell them, it's a process. It was a process to even get into that type of environment, in that situation where it was unrequited love. And, it's a process of which I had to get out of. But now I'm making strides. I'm finding self-love, finding my religion, finding who I am, and, I'm embracing all of that. So as I take you on this journey in Where Do We Go, I'm going to read you guys the first part of my book. It's broken up into 5 sections, starting from infatuation all the way to consolation. Okay, so here we go. Infiltration. The day has been seized and the night is released. I close my eyes, steady my mind, and calm my spirit. All is silent. Boom, boom, boom goes the mallet that beats my skull. The ceaseless cacophony that gives me restless nights drowns out all movements and motions of society. Constant banging, one beat after another, over and over, slowly impeding my vision and my hearing. Can't you hear it? Can't you feel it? The vibrations that are agitating the atmosphere. I know you can feel it. It only happens when you're near in my thoughts or with me in person. This mallet that continuously strikes my mind moves to my heart. Boom, ba-boom, boom, ba-boom, boom, ba-boom. The steady rhythm hits its crescendo. It becomes louder. This banging, signaling for my brain to release the last bit of dopamine that I possess, increasing my heart rate and rushing blood to my face. Red. And so it goes on. Flushed cheeks, racing heart, bothered mind, all because of you. Infatuation. You make me feel like I'm alive, like the gigantic black butterflies that reside in my stomach, flying fervently and inflamed by your presence. And just like them, I find myself possessed by your magic, your powerful Black man magic. I have become your voodoo doll, and you have gained control over my body. Your glances undress me. Your voice stills me. Your appearance alone forces me to, it just forces me into a wild place in which I lose myself, because you are the epitome of fine. Fine with design like Zinfandel strawberry wine. Oof, mama always told me the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. And just from your juice, I became sweet off of you. You sent me slipping into a diabetic coma. The decadent chocolate that coats your skin has mesmerized me. And your lips, well, let's just say they put out a recall for Hershey's Kisses. Man, you got this class about you. The way you walk, the way you strut, the way you make me catch feelings when I'm not even about that stuff. But then it hits me. You are my drug. You are my religion. You are my other half, and there is no division between us, the secrets between us that we share behind closed doors, the whispers, the moans, the deep talk, the enlightenment, the moments where we can sit and stare at each other like we are masterpieces. I am your Picasso. You are my Van Gogh. Let me be your muse tonight. Paint my body with your kisses, examine every aspect, hold on to me and never let go. As we rush to climax, our spirits are one. Wait, hold up a second. This was only a dream. And now it's done. Exploration. My body is a temple. It is not a house. It is not a home. This vessel, sculpted by the Creator himself, is called divine. This is the space where love dwells, where peace sings, and where joy dances, and where the winds of life flow down every corridor. Inhale, exhale. Rome was not built in a day, and neither was this temple. Countless years, undergoing renovation, open to innovation, closed off for exploration. That is, until you came along. A humble monk was your presentation. Hands folded in prayer, you whispered and repeated your incantation to me. Fiat mihi, et sperabunt, meaning let me in, I seek refuge. You sought for what I had. You wanted me to share my love, peace, and joy. Being of good heart, I did just that. I let you in. I let you stay. I shared what I possessed. Happiness was the gift you promised in return. But little did I know, happiness is but a temporary treasure. Devastation. And reside you did with malintent and destruction. Slowly I began to fall in ruins, cracking, molding, dilapidating right before your eyes. You did nothing to help me. Instead, you came with your wrecking ball in hand. Lo and behold, you swung your big black ball into me repeatedly, tearing down my walls without any qualms and watching them fall for your own arousal. You stole my joy. You disrupted my peace. You murdered my love. And there I was, helpless, my temple shattered. You never knew my worth. You surveyed, conquered, and claimed with hopes of destroying me so I would be fit for you. Humble as you pretended to be, a fraud you were, giving me compliments, promising to treat me right, but never did you recognize my worth. You defiled this temple. A forced entry, it was not, but a misconception, a fault, a need for me. Maybe I just wanted you here, just maybe. But now my maybes have turned it into locks to keep you out. You are banished. And I say this to say, don't reside in my temple to steal my love, my peace, and my joy. Don't reside in my temple with unfulfilling promises. Broken I am, stronger I will become. My locks have changed. My temple is sealed. Realization. I write to you as I sit alone in this room for one. listening to Jill Scott as the glow of the full moon illuminates my wooden floors. I lay in my bed, taking casual sips at my red wine. Cabernet Sauvignon, 2016. Bittersweet. Bring back any memories? Oh, the memories, the laughs, the company, the silence. The sweet conversations you used to win me over have fallen through. The consistency you had in the beginning is no longer present. Oh, how I wish it were but a dream, but dreams manifest themselves into reality. A silent reality that I had to face. Because you never liked to talk. To you, I said too much. To you, I shared too much. To you, I loved too much. All I ever did was too much. Silence me with a kiss. Silence me with bliss. Silence me with a gift. But don't come over with duct tape to seal up my lips. I thought you were too good for me. Maybe I was doing this love thing wrong, but little did I realize it was the other way around. Consistency is key. And like a child, you lost it over and over and over, looking to me to leave my door open for you to come in. Remember what happened last time I let you in? You left a leak. The faucets behind my eyes created the steady drip, drip, drip that flowed down my cheeks. Salty streams. Bitter was the soul that claimed me broken and beyond repair. But damaged I was as you left me. Silently. Cheated on me. Silently. Hurt me. Silently. Silence was what I received, and silence is what I've become. Hence, why your phone calls are answered with nothing but the soft inhale and exhale that I give. But now for you, I write. I write to you as I sit alone in this room for one. My mind drifting to you. Nothing anymore, just silence. Consolation. I feel compelled to apologize, so please listen. I'm sorry I expected you to give me what I wanted, rather than realize that you are the last person to handle such a mature task. You continue to push your gray lies to cover up the blue skies of truth while using your cumulonimbus disguise. Cumulonimbus man, leave me be. Away with your loud clashes of ignorance and ego. Away with your destruction and darkness. Cumulonimbus man, this is it. I refuse to let you cloud my thoughts and weather my spirit anymore. You infiltrated my mind and I became infatuated. You continued to explore me and left me devastated. You brought me to a realization, and now I sit here under gray skies waiting for something to feel. Another cloud to cover up my sun. Another rain to wash away my sin. Cumulonimbus man, again you turned violent and sent tornadoes to make my head spin. I surrender myself to the truth because it's what I deserve. I deserve consolation, but what peace can you offer me? What kind of consolation can I receive from an unbreakable and self-destructive storm? I admit I silently gave you the authority to control my seasons, and yet you left me stuck in the season of rain. My roots overwatered from the tears spent hitting the ground. I'm done with this. You no longer have rule over me. I control my seasons, my sun, and my rain. I liberate myself from you. I give myself peace and light. Let my roots strengthen and plant themselves so I may grow and manifest. Cumulonimbus man, I am sorry. Sorry that I was able to give myself what you could never give me. I have found myself once again. This is my consolation. And I'm going to conclude with my final book, with my final poem. And this is the ending poem to my book, Where Did We Go? Where did we go? Where do we go when all has been said and done? When the last word has been verbalized, when the last care has been given, when the last heartfelt moments of eye contact turn into a quick series of sweet flashbacks that suddenly cease. Time has always been of the essence, but that essence should not serve as the chain that keeps us bound to what we need to let go of. that toxicity, that mentally draining feel of overexertion for a cause that would never satisfy our hunger or our worth, but instead leave us broken and questioning, where do we go from here? Deep down, we know the answer. We know where we are needed. We know that we belong to a higher calling that validates our existence because we are, we have been, and we will always be our own beings. Unfortunately, this journey is never easy. We are alone. And as we move alone, we will encounter the cruel reminders of the past. Let's allow these memories to propel us forward. Let us find solace and peace within ourselves. On our journey, let's pick up courage, clarity, and comfortability, because we will make it, we will prosper, and we will become stronger. So now, it is no longer a matter of where do we go. It's now, when do we begin? We begin now. Thank you.
That is really, there's no words that I can say here. I believe, and I'm going to ask Adriana and Lisa that we're ready for open mic. Is that right? Or, no, one more person. I guess. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to introduce the next person. So the next person I will be introducing is Tyler Clark. He is currently a junior at Kean University and an English major. And he plans to pursue a master's in fine arts in poetry when he graduates in 2022. So please, ladies and gentlemen, help me to bring on Tyler Clark. Go ahead, Tyler.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Tyler Clark, like that. And I've had Dr. Jite for a lot of my classes, especially my English ones, because I'm an English major. And two of the poems that I wrote from her class, the first one is a sonnet. It's the first sonnet I've ever wrote. One of the assignments, she wanted us to write a sonnet. At first, I was going to write something about love, because that's what a lot of Shakespearean sonnets are about. But this was in the fall, and George Floyd died over the summer, as well as Ahmaud Arbery and other Black people. So I felt that I should write my sonnet about that. So it's called Summer Sonnet. Fires rage in the street, the hidden truth uncovered. Black people die under police feet, a knee on the neck, smothered. Martin Luther King taught us to dream. Black Panthers taught us to unite. Malcolm X raised our self-esteem, but Minnesota is burning tonight. We're the ones who will guide, make some sense of this mess, to honor those who have died. We must make progress. The generation that lies ahead, we must stop the bloodshed.
Tyler, you're breaking up just a little bit. Is it possible to come a little closer to the microphone, maybe? I'm not sure. Maybe I'm the only one
And
here.
then
Nara
the
signaled it.
next one, it's called Evening Primrose. I also wrote it in Dr. Jite's class. And it's after Louise Gluck, because we had an assignment where we had to use lines from her poem, which were, "Oh, my brothers and sisters." Oh. Yeah. Is it better now?
I think so. Please go ahead.
Does it sound better now, or it's still breaking up?
It's breaking up.
I guess should I keep? Is it? It sounds good, or
Try to turn off your video.
okay?
Will help.
Sorry. So the next one, it's called Evening Primrose. Here I lie, buried under the earth, waiting for my time. Among the rows of my brothers and sisters, I cannot feel the warm rays of golden sun. Yeah, well, maybe it's my connection. I'm not sure.
Tyler, I'm wondering if we give you a little.
I
time.
mean, I could just go ahead and introduce the open mic. Fine, 'cause I only had.
Tyler, let's do
What about now? Does it sound better, or is it still the same? Okay, let me try now. Just let me know if it's breaking up. So this one was called Evening Primrose. Here I lie, buried under the earth, waiting for my time, among the rows of my brothers and sisters. I cannot feel the warm rays of golden sun. The rain, it nurtures me, begging me to rise. Mother Nature calls my name as roots begin to grow. It's fine. It's probably just my connection. I'll just introduce the open mic. It's no problem. Then so that's okay. It's probably just my connection. So that's fine. I was just gonna introduce the open mic night. So I was just gonna say just for some baby because she.
Tyler, I'm gonna take over on open mic moderating today. I have I believe 9 people signed up to read. If you haven't signed up already, please add your name to chat. I'm sorry, Tyler. I can't imagine how much frustrated you must be. Maybe if you have a link to a poetry site, or if you would write down some poems, I could send them to people afterwards. If you have anything I can send to people afterwards, I would really love to. So let's connect later. Tyler, so first person to answer in terms of the request for open mic was Sun Baby Awaken, who knocked me off with her video. Sun Baby, are you with us? Can you turn on you need to unmute and we're ready to rock.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Hello, my name is Sun Baby. My theme is poetry and a bongo. This is a poem I wrote that also goes towards police brutality and how the topic saddens me. And please, if you do like it, feel free to follow me on Instagram and YouTube. All right. This song is called Calling Love. I'm just going to put it in a chat for you. Okay. All right. Love, I need you to patch my pain and anger, love. I can't go on without you, love. So much sorrow I feel, love. I can't take it, I need your love to rescue me, to rescue me. I need you, love. I can't go on without you. That's all I got so far.
That is great. That is really great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sun Baby. And Sun Baby Awaken is off to work. So
Yes.
thank you for squeezing us in. Okay.
Thank you.
It was great. So we're going to have like the baseball lineup. And the Atlas is next. And Atlas, I'll see what I can do based on your message. Atlas, Leona, and Kiana is the next 3 people up. Atlas, take it away. I gotta find you. Atlas, you need to unmute. Can you unmute? There you go.
You good? Everybody can hear me?
Everybody's good.
Beautiful. Thank you all so much for being here. This is called I Once Was. Here we go. They carried me through town like a trophy they just won. They got nothing but compliments and congratulations from everyone. As a baby, they could hardly wait for the moment I could walk. Then they'd repeat words again and again to teach me how to talk. My parents were determined to prove I was the greatest kid. They made me feel so special and praised everything I did. But they and many after them had a completely different plan, which where sadly my disdain for human beings all began. I thought the sky was the limit until the day that I was grounded. How could you embarrass me like that? Oh, how those words resounded. The lesson started on that day, but it was some time before I would see. I would constantly seek approval and permission to be me. So I salvaged scraps of self-esteem through the few good people I had met. They weren't reminding me how stupid I was, so it was quite easy to forget. But I guess my parents had gaps in their life that they wanted me to fill. Their lost hopes and ambitions were disguised as my free will. I had to learn to prioritize, compromise intellect for looks, gave up on my imagination when I threw away my books. I used to have such great conversations until the day I got a phone, and I became more disconnected with every new gadget I owned. So desperate for a comforting voice, yet there was no one I could call because everyone was busy being busy, even though they weren't really busy at all. So uncomfortable with silence, they finally forced themselves to speak, but never ever of their feelings or of looking weak. When I told my friends I was free of debt, they thought it was a joke. I didn't think that I was broken. I just thought, hey, I was broke. A way to make new friends, I thought maybe social media would be fun. But when I amassed hundreds of friends, I felt like I had none. When I tried to share my thoughts with others, they made me feel like I was rude. No one allowed my voice to be heard, so I just silenced it with food. Then my ride to work was the only socializing I had left. But cell phones and headphones made everyone blind and deaf. I once thought I had a purpose, but I replaced it just with a job, potential to be a great machine, but now I'm barely just a cog. Hoping for in contact, I ventured to the crowded mall, but automatic doors, faucets, and lighting would mean that I would touch nothing at all. But it seems like everyone goes shopping whenever they get bored. Their wallets filled with credit cards to buy what they can't afford. No matter where you look, there are ads relentlessly shoved in your face. Because if you're not buying something, then I guess you're just a waste of space. I have memories from all sorts of places that apparently no one knows because they all just became places to eat or somewhere to buy bigger clothes. You know, whenever I was in pain, I cried, but now I just swallow a pill because whatever people don't understand, they always try to kill. I stopped saying when I grow up the moment I realized I was grown. So when I lost permission to be a child, I just had one of my own. But a car, an address, a house full of stuff, all I really have is debt because I've replaced resourcefulness with insurmountable regret. I thought I knew something about life. Apparently, I was wrong. Instead of living twice as much, we should just live twice as long. A glorified storage unit is what I'm now forced to call my home. Irrevocable envy for the homeless because, hell, at least they're free to roam. Think whatever you will of me, but this was all that I could do. to summarize my tragedy in a letter signed sincerely, far too many of you. Thank you.
That was really great, and I appreciate it. Are those your, did you do the paintings behind you? Okay, Leona, are you ready?
Yes.
And I just ask everybody to mute themselves unless they, I've asked them to unmute. Please keep yourself muted because we are hearing some sound. So Leona, it's yours.
This poem deals with dealing with grief. Sitting on the edge of forever. We mourn our loss in bathrooms with showers blasting, in cars with locked doors, windows closed to hide our screams. The pain of the amputation too much to bear. Gone, vanished, we feel the whole like an organ removed from our body, never to be replaced, a painful emptiness, an open sore oozing pain. We walk into closets, rummage in attics, sit on curbside, sifting through trash, hoping against all hope to find that which was lost. There is no returning, there is no turning back time, and time doesn't heal all wounds, at least not now, when it is a putrid sore. And so we sit on the edge of forever, waiting for their return, bandaging our wound with a dressing that burns like Tabasco sauce on our tongue. Thank you.
Thank you, Leona. That was really something. Next up is Kiana, and then here's the order. Just let me read you the whole order. Kiana, D. Allen, John, Yanira, Alan Brindell, Paul Brindell. I'm not sure, I must have missed up. Paul Rabinowitz, and then Tamara, I don't know if you would wanted to read. So that's the order. Now we have Kiana.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kiana, the artist. Everybody has a voice of crying to a voice of shout. Everybody has a voice. To a mother crying in tears, to a father loud noise. Everybody has a voice. To a young adult getting in trouble with the law, to the college student cry for college loans. Everybody has a voice. To a preacher to preach people's souls to justify. Everybody has a voice. To the White House, to the Congress, to the military, to the dying world, everybody has a voice. To a teacher, to a student, to a school, everybody has a voice. To a poet, to a rapper, to a singer, everybody has a voice. To, hey, I'm not getting paid enough, to unemployed, to relocated, everybody has a voice. To the pretty long white dress saying I do, to the newborn baby coming into the world, everybody has a voice. To gays in the streets against protests, everybody has a voice. To get a new trade, to own your own business, everybody has a voice. So let your voice be heard because everybody has a voice. And my book of the month is called The Amazing Artist by God's Glory. And it came out of this book. And I'm going to put my information in the chat. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Any links you have or anything, put them in chat and I will include them in a follow-up letter. Okay, so next up we have, that was Kiana. Next up is Dee Allen. Dee, are you up with us?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to try to allow you to share the screen. Oh, you can. Okay, good. Take it away.
Okay, I'm going to do one poem for y'all. And in acknowledgement of Poetry Month, Earth Day, and Arbor Day. And that poem happens to come from my fifth book, Eloi Onichi, Poems, 2013 to 2018, released Earth Day 2020. So this month happens to be the 1-year anniversary of this little book. From section 1 in the book entitled Harm to Nature, from pages 10 and 11, this is called Conundrum. And I'm going to use the share screen function if the moderator will let me.
I see you, so I think I'm trying. Um,
Yeah, there's a box that keeps popping up that says host disabled, screen sharing.
okay. I'm gonna put that you can screen and
Oh, it's up now. Cool. From pages 10 and 11 from Eloise Onichi, this is called Conundrum. As a twiggy little boy of 9, I was so curious about the bumblebees hovering over blood red roses, flesh pink roses, bushes filled with pale yellow honeysuckles that grew in my grandmother's yard. So curious when I reached out to touch one. Ah, that bumblebee stung me with its needle-like tail, leaving behind a mark, swollen red, painful, on the caramel brown of my arm. Never touched another one since. There were so many bumblebees back then, practically in swarms. Every spring, pollination time. Now I'm older, a man of 53, taller, darker skinned, closer to chocolate than caramel. Still twiggy though. Another spring has arrived, and something's missing from the big ecological picture. Absence leaves behind a mark, a conundrum. Where have all the bumblebees gone? I hear different styles of music, but no distinctive droning buzz fills my ears. I see all manners of insects fly in the air, but no visible sign of the little pollinators paying any visits to East Oakland's roses. Extinction leaves behind a mark, a conundrum. Who will produce honey when the bumblebees are gone?
see, that was great.
And
Thank you.
that poem was called Conundrum, from pages 10 and 11 of Eloise Onichi, now available from Conviction to Change Publishing. From this mic to your ears, I'm D. Allen. Thanks for listening. Happy
See, I don't know what happened to you, but thank you very much. And if you'll all put the links in chat, I will send them out in the follow-up email. So next up we have John, then Yanira, and then Alan. Okay, John, you ready?
Yes, hi, I'm John. I'm going to read a poem I wrote. This is called Attached. A sad young boy stares out the window before dawn. The blue couch is engulfed by the garbage truck. After Buzz the bluebird died, he never owned another pet. Love is like quicksand, easy to fall in but impossible to climb out. A lifetime of friendships, slowly losing touch but fighting not to let go. He holds on to too much and loses his grip. Through the window pane, a sunrise over the East River and FDR Drive. Now a photograph hanging beside the closed blinds of the suburbs. Centered in the past, he lets the world evolve without him.
Thank you. Thank you very much, John. Okay, Yanira, and the first thing you can do is tell me how to pronounce your name. I'm asking you to unmute. Yanira?
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's right. You're pronouncing it correctly. So this poem is inspired by a poet called Elizabeth Acevedo. It's titled, You Mean You Don't Weep at Home. It's the being adult, I think. It's the new space, the rat race, the misplace of every feeling, of every age, of every phase. It's the no money, no country, no case of someone that has done this before me. Is this not what broke means? That you moisturize with tears? I mostly sit on my dream to rest, to pause, to stop, to honor my ancestors now that I have done it. Home ownership. Maybe you have to work forever to live. It must be your period, my friends say. Yes, the bloating, I repeat. I don't know how to tell them. Every night I cry. I cry every night. It's the being adult, I think. It's the boob sweat, the bad debt, the onset of something. Is this not the answer? This place, a room of your own? You mean to tell me you don't weep at home?
Thank you. That was really great. Next up, we have Alan.
Thank you. This has been such an inspiring evening. I'm so glad that I noticed it. In 2017, I completed a play that was produced off Broadway in New York at the Workshop Theater. It was a story of 4 young people who left their families and escaped the Holocaust while remaining on their own and on the run. One of those individuals, after running for years, joined the Polish army and came upon the Majdanek concentration camp within days following its liberation. The poem entitled Shoes. As we marched, we saw the dead on the road, from weakness, from bullets, leathered, emaciated corpses, looks of horror frozen on faces. There was no peace, even in death. Those alive, arms and legs like broomsticks, joints bulging, skin the yellow color of a rotten apple. Inside the fences, I saw the piles, teeth, brown from malnutrition, hair, organized by color and by texture, broken eyeglasses, and the pile taller than the others, the pile I could not have imagined. Shoes, from babies and small children, tiny shoes. The Germans had no use for such shoes. So the pile grew and grew. The men of my battalion, warriors, sobbed like babies. I forced myself to the pile. I took 2 shoes within the palm of my hand. I would later learn the horror of that camp. For that moment, and for all time, I hugged the tiny shoes as tightly as I could, and I cried. End of poem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was something else. I appreciate it. Paul Rabinowitz, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Thank you. That was, Alan, that was a beautiful poem. It's hard to follow that one. So I'm going to read something about Salvador Dali and his muse, Gala. It's called Dali. I had the most interesting dream last night about a woman who dressed like Salvador Dali and a man who dressed like his muse, Gala. Each impression of the other fell for the impression of the other. But when their true selves were revealed, the man who dressed as Gala decided to borrow the clothes from the woman who dressed as Salvador Dali. The woman was so moved, she dressed in the clothes of his muse, Gala, and together they decided to photograph each other with an old camera that had no film. Yet the idea of the photo that never came to be became the idea for a novel that was never written, but remained locked in his mind as he removed his tie and carefully set it on the waxed end of her elegant mustache. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. At the end of the poem, we have coming up Giacomo and Stan. And if there's somebody else, let me know. But at the end of the poems, I'm going to unmute everybody and allow for commercials of organizations and presses. So let's keep going with Stan.
Hello, Stan. The title of the poem is After Juan Ju. I dreamed I was a butterfly who fluttered high up in the sky. Then I woke to form of man, there to be as I began. Now, am I man who dreamed of butterflight, or butterfly who dreams as man tonight? Thank you.
The eternal question. Thank you. Okay, and that was Dan, and now Giacomo. Rocco, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Thank you very much. I'll be reading a short piece from my upcoming collection, Casting Out, and it addresses kind of I guess the migration from being part of the evangelical belief system to that of if I'm going to be confrontational, atheism. It's my experience, and it's the kind of also addresses like how do you trying to reconcile the people that you love and who fostered you with a belief system you no longer follow. And it's one of the poems is entitled "For Then Shall Be Great Tribulation." Bank cards are the beginning, Mom says. The Antichrist will make sure you can't buy food, not without his number tattooed on your arm. Grandma sits beside me in the back seat, says 666, as if completing one of her crosswords. Dad pumps the gallons, dwelling not on the opening of seals, nor on the sun turning black as sackcloth, but the development of prime real estate outside Wakefield, Rhode Island. They are already turning against Israel, Mom says. Whatever you do, you must never side against Israel. Won't matter anyway, Grandma says. We're all going to be taken up. Except your father, giggles Mom, as he climbs up into the van. He doesn't respond, although he can guess. And this has been a 9-hour drive already. God damn it, the end times at a Sunoco in Cheektowaga. Is she going to talk about this all day? Anyways, Harriet, would you stop? He'll eventually say loudly, and maybe she'll stop. Or maybe she'll take a long sip of her Pepsi through the straw, peer down the remainder of the I-95 and decide that the rapture may happen over the Peace Bridge. And then, poor Vito, suddenly alone in all that quiet. Thank you.
So I think Debbie might be frozen. I'm just gonna take over because I think we have 2 more volunteers. Lakshman, you want to read? Yes. And there is 1 more in the chat. So I think I can unmute you. I hope I can. Great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. This is a series of 3 triolets. It's termed Cheers 3. Lucky is the one for whom the world cheers 3, one who hails success and unpretentiously. The likes of the Triple Crown or NASCAR spree. Lucky is the one for whom the world cheers 3, who helps ring the hoofs or steer the wheels for free, so that others can chase such dreams rightfully. Lucky is the one for whom the world cheers 3, one who hails success and unpretentiously. Lucky is the one for whom the world cheers 3, one who wins sprints, triathlons timed precisely. Boston, New York, or Bordeaux high in degree. Lucky is the one for whom the world cheers 3, who sets to motion the feet of the trainee, a scorcher of a victory notably. Lucky is the one for whom the world cheers 3, one who wins sprints, triathlons, timed precisely. Lucky is the one for whom the world cheers 3, one who in the 4 pro sports reigns supreme. Touchdowns, triple plays, goals, talent, pedigree. Lucky is the one for whom the world cheers 3. Who with eclat prepares teams to compete free, results a clean sweep, thereby held in esteem. Lucky is the one for whom the world cheers 3, one who in the 4 pro sports reigns supreme. Thank you.
I think we have Kali who wants to, I'm trying to keep up with the chat, but I'm like, I wasn't monitoring it too well. So I see that Kali, you wanted to read a poem, and you could, I think we could go to 8 if that's okay. That, you know, it's a nice time, 8, it's been an hour and a half, so we can't spend all night, but I don't see where you are to unmute you. Can you like put your screen on just so I can see it? Oh no, now you don't have it anymore. Okay.
Hello. Hello. I go by the name of Savage Writer. I'm a writer, artist, poet from North New Jersey. I go to Kean. I'm a senior, and I have a piece for y'all tonight. It's called "When Your Neighborhood Decides to Break Up with You." I speak from the soul, no malicious intentions. If I disagree and you disagree, nothing is wrong with respecting each other's opinions as long as there is no beef between us. See, it is a lot on my conscience and I need room for my speech. My neighborhood is deciding to break up with me. 10 damn years I done been with this lady. Her name, Heights University. When I first met Heights, we did not get along at all. My heart belonged to South Ward, but she cut me loose cause South felt I wasn't mature enough for the relationship. Course I wasn't when all she spoke of was larceny, taking young men under 25 from their families cause she was the primary breadwinner, sole provider of this household where my last penny couldn't even cover the rent receipt. I never liked what South did to her underlinings, set them up to be killed by knives, bullets, crack, pills. Hey, name it yourselves, damn it. Slanging them poison, diluting their brain functions. Some were booked to voluntary, involuntarily servitude for the crimes they committed, drive-by, stick-ups, assaults, rapes, molestation, deception, castration, deprivation. I couldn't deal with South antics, so I went my own separate way while we went our own separate ways. Heights welcomed me with open arms. Our spot was astounding. 4 backyard, a balcony, 1-car garage, 3 bedroom, loft, and walk-in closets, wooden flooring, laundry room for the clothing, dishwasher, full-size kitchen, dining section included, an open area in the cut where I finally got along with the neighbors and walked the neighborhood without fearing for my safety. Heights and I grew strong until I found out she was keeping a secret. When Heights and I met in 2011, next to our dwelling, a fling wifey had in the shadows concepted what became North Collegiate. What, I miscalculate? Where did we go wrong? I see the stranger Heights messed around with his building, his real estate portfolio, gobbling tracts of land where dollar per dated bodegas are standing for luxury apartments to take their places. Heights snuck around with the wealthy men. She figured I lacked the resources to become a Nipsey Hussle and start several shops around the neighborhood. Broad took my loyalty, threw it through a tussle. She exploited the weakest link. My block is reminiscent of another Brooklyn, and not the old one either. Where the old Baxter projects were, they're breaking ground there also. Heights and her rich friend. She entertains the residents with enough funds for the loss, and not me. I don't receive a dime. I'm hearing my townhouse could be bought out. And Heights allowing her side man to gut the Renaissance house, which a clear-cut signs our relationship has come to an end. Your boy's been gentrified. To the man in the dark pickup inquiring about the gaps and diameters of heights as you build a settlement from the rubble scattering. I'm the kind of guy who doesn't appreciate what he has until it's gone and not coming back again. I should have taken the trash out more often, not litter your curbs with bed bug infested mattresses and televisions the size of entertainment centers. We set out because that had to go. Perhaps the neighbors coming in will be less negligent and actually change the hood and stuff. You deserve Heights more than I ever could. Hold on. Wait just a goddamn minute. Now, I have to make it right with Heights. I can't just let my woman off the leash dehydrated. This is my neighborhood. I spent my entire adolescence here. I published my first book here. I attained my armor for the spiritual war here. I learned the inner workings of myself here. I earned 2 degrees here. I done seen it all here. My rise to prominence coming from Goldilocks in the hood to an eagle soaring high. Seeing Heights violate must have sparked a fire from underneath. I am burning courtesy of the heat. Sparked the inspiration. I had to shut the weed down. I'll find a way to leave my mark on Heights long after I transition. There is a powerful anointing for me. So if you feel like you want to break up with me, so be it. Because my need for you isn't needed.
Thank you. Okay, Nikki is going to clean it up. Just before you do, Nikki, I want to make a quick announcement. There are 3 ways to find out about what's going on at our library, and we have all kinds of events. We have a newsletter, which you can sign up on our fabulous website, which is another way to sign up, and you can like us on Facebook. Next week, we have something very different than tonight. We have What's Up at the Meadowlands, which is in honor of Earth Day. You could call it the miracle of the Meadowlands, except that it was due to hard work. And then we have something called Made in New Jersey TV and Film Edition, looking at everything many things that have been made in New Jersey. So, Nikki, you're up. Can you unmute yourself? Nikki, are you here? Nikki, 1, 2, 3, are you here? I hope.
She can't unmute herself. She's saying in the chat.
Okay, hold on. Any one of the hosts who can try to unmute her. Let's try that. Nikki, try again.
Hello?
Yes, yay.
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
We can. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for having me. It's been it's so inspiring to hear everyone's work tonight. And it's Tyreek in particular moved me to speak. This poem, so thank you, Tyreek. This poem I wrote a few years ago, reflecting on a heartbreak I experienced about a decade ago. And it's a poem about healing. And looking back at it today, it's actually, I wrote it a few days ago today, 2 years ago, in April. Sorry, if that makes sense. And it's about healing over time, fittingly. And so here it is. Well, today marks that day I started to forget you. You washed off more easily than I thought you would. Not the needled ink we both thought you were. Turned out you were just a sticker, rubbed on wet, glistening, new. And when you finally peeled and frayed from view, heartache grayed, and I forgot you. That was the day, deciding you didn't belong there on my skin, and still fearing that it might be so much more pain to remove you than to keep you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nikki. That was really great. I hope that everybody will sign up for the newsletter and write to me and let me know, what did you think about today? What would you like to see in the future? I also put a note in there about please, any links that you want me to include in a follow-up email, and especially to our gentleman who wasn't able to connect with us, please include a link to your poems or anything. And finally, I really want to thank our two hosts and opening poets who did an incredible job in pulling this all together. So, Brianna, do you want to bring us home?
Sure, and Lisa, feel free to interject, of course, okay? So just want to thank all of the open mic participants for sharing your unique work with us, for sticking through this evening of poetry, and for letting us share our work with you. It's really been a wonderful evening, and we really thank you, and we hope that this is the start of some more great events between the library and Kean University, and with this new community that we formed all together.
And I'd also just like to thank Debbie for everything, for reaching out to us and for coordinating all of this. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful night.
You all made it. So put in that, I'm going to read the comments up for a moment, and be sure to put in there anything that you want to say. I will share these notes with other people. So if you like the program, put it in the notes so that we